Hello! So today we are here for a quick video to talk about how much I have spent learning Spanish over the past 4 years. I have seen multiple people do this, so I will have some linked below. I intended to do this video a while ago, but I just kind of forgot to get all my stuff together to film it, and since then I've spent more money, so now it will be more interesting anyway. So I have things split up into 3 categories, basically. The first one being the biggest spending one, and that is what I would call instruction. So the first 2 things are from my first year of trying to learn Spanish. They are the biggest cost when they're combined, and they are the only thing on here that I really wish I hadn't spent the money on. So the first one is a community college class for 1 semester. I couldn't find the cost of either of these things exactly because they were 4 years ago now. So the community college class was, I believe, $500 approximately. So, you know, this is like a little bit iffy to include because most people in the US have to take a foreign language in university. Many people would have had this without necessarily counting it as a cost, but my degree did not require foreign language, and so I did take this optionally and I did pay for it, so I'm including it here. I did Lingota for 1 sprint or partial sprint or whatever, and that I think was around $350. I put it in here as $400. I'm not sure, but I want to say it was like $360. As I've said here before, I don't regret Lingota because I think it was a bad thing to do. I just personally don't like it as a beginner. I don't like taking speaking classes as a beginner, so I wouldn't spend the money on this again. So moving on to 2023, I did not spend any money on instruction in 2021 or 2022, but in 2023, I did some italki classes, so I spent $121 exactly on italki classes, and that was only maybe like 6 or so classes, so I kind of moved away from italki for affordability reasons. I paid $67 for a year of access to Langolia, which is a Spanish self-paced course. Then I did 1 month of Lingota for $128. And then my biggest cost of this entire thing was Babbel Live, 1 year of access to unlimited classes for $600. And this is actually, I think, cheaper than this now. So then for apps, I had a 1 year access to Bilingua app, which I think I got in like Black Friday or something, so it was $28 for a year. Then at some point during some sale, I paid $98 for a lifetime subscription to Closemaster, which I have barely used, but I am trying to get more use out of it now. Oh, I had 2 months of Dreaming Spanish Premium, so that is $16 as well. I forgot to put that on my little list. And that is everything for apps. That puts us somewhere around $1,950 for the total. So that's a lot of money to just talk about. So these 2 categories, instruction and apps, are things that like I would never have purchased if I wasn't learning a language, you know, like they are pure Spanish costs. The next category is entertainment, which are things that I wouldn't have purchased this exact thing if I weren't learning Spanish, but I would probably potentially have spent that money anyway, so hopefully this will become clear. So prior to learning Spanish, I had a subscription to the Scribd platform, which has audiobooks and ebooks, and so I used that for things that I couldn't get from my library. After starting learning Spanish and kind of discovering that that wasn't that great for Spanish, I switched that to Storytel, which is $8.50 per month, and I've had that since approximately August of 2022, so that adds up to approximately $150 over the course of like a year and a half. I actually am saving money by making this video because in looking up the price of this, I see that they now have a yearly option, which is $60 for the whole year, so I will be saving money because that's only $5 a month. So I've switched to that subscription. So this worked out well for me. I have an RTVE Play subscription, which is a streaming service. I've had it for about 5 months and it's $5 a month, so that's $25. I have an A3 player subscription, which was a year for $50. Then I was gifted by a family member for Christmas a year subscription to Film In, which I'm not counting in my total because I did not purchase it, but that would be an $80. So my entertainment number comes out to $225. Again, I don't necessarily consider this like new spending, although certainly, you know, to some extent, obviously, I justify these things by being like for Spanish, but I don't pay for any streaming platforms in English. I don't pay for anything like this in English. So that puts our total at a little bit over $500 per year to learn Spanish, which is a lot. It's a lot more than I feel like I have spent. I think mostly because almost half of this was in the first year of learning Spanish. So if you take out that year, it becomes almost $0 in 2021 and 2022, and then pretty much $1,000 in 2023. Mostly because of conversation classes, you know, wanting to start speaking and put a lot more conscientious effort into that, which obviously you can do for free, but I was finding myself not actually doing it when I was trying to do it through free methods. But regardless, you know, obviously that's not the point of this video. But it is, you know, really alarming to see that number when, like, I do not feel like I spend that much on learning Spanish. And also, I forgot to mention, this does not include books that I'm purchasing, you know, fiction books in print or ebooks or anything like that. Mostly because, you know, I am a reader. I would read the number of books that I'm going to read regardless, and so I was probably going to buy and read that amount of books anyway, you know, and I don't buy all my books. I get them from the library. A lot of them are from Storytel, which I did include, but if I'm buying, you know, the occasional book from Half Price Books, ordering the occasional book, I was going to do that anyway, whether it was in Spanish or English, so I'm not counting that. So anyway, I think that these videos are super interesting to see, you know, how much people have spent. Obviously, they are massively skewed if you've done classes or tons of italki versus mostly self-studying. So, you know, I think I'm somewhere in the middle, but again, I am surprised to see how large the number is based on, you know, what I feel like my regular spending habits are, but it really is, you know, a few really high dollar items. So I would love to hear your thoughts. If you'd be comfortable sharing, share your numbers as well, and I will see you in the next video.